What's up, y'all? We got a big day today. It's my first major speaking engagement out here at Missouri State University, talking to a sorority and a fraternity here tonight. Gonna be a big crowd, and I'm so excited to get into this. Hope you guys enjoy the talk. I hope it goes amazing. And if anybody's watching this and wants to book me for a speaking engagement, make sure to DM uwfz.podcast on Instagram. Let's make something happen. Right now, we're still doing these for free. We're out here for free tonight, so if you want me to show up to your fraternity, sorority, school, just spoke at a youth group at a church the other night. If you want to book me, hit me up, uwfz.podcast on Instagram. Let's make something happen, y'all. Let's go. Let's go get this tonight. Pretty soon. Hey, y'all good? You see that? Did you see that? I was about to clap like I do with the kids, like. All right, y'all, we about to get this started. I just want to say, first off, thank you so much for coming out tonight. I remember when I was in college, they would tell us about a little educational thing we got going on. I'd be like, oh man, we really got to go to that, but I appreciate you girls and guys for coming out here tonight. I just want to let you know something, all right? SIGEP, y'all are my brothers. I was a SIGEP president up at Northwest Missouri State a little less than a year ago, so nice to meet y'all. Yeah. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, brother. And then ladies out here, I also, so when I was at college, I won Homecoming King, and the queen was the 80 Pi, so got a connection with y'all too. Yeah. And hey, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not here tonight to talk to y'all about a very happy topic. But I know that it will be powerful because I heard what unfortunately happened back in November, and right when I heard that, I messaged your sister, Julia Dorweiler. I know her really well, and I was like, Julia, get me there. I don't care if it's at a chapter meeting. I don't care if we have to make something up. Like, find a way for me to come talk to these ladies because I really care about you all, and I have a similar situation, and I'm really just here to tell you about that. So anyways, let's get this going. I told y'all back when I was in college and president of my fraternity, that was cool, but I looked a little different. That was the dreadhead days. We all go through the dreadhead phase, right? No? Yeah. Hey, they were nasty. They had to go. All right? So, yeah, that happened. I'm also engaged to this beautiful girl right here, beautiful lady right here, Macy, soon to be Huggins, sitting here in the front row. She's the best. She actually made this whole slideshow for me, so shout out to her. Painted that mural back in August. Proposed, she said yes. June 1st, I'm gonna be a married man, y'all. So excited. Let's see. Oh yeah, so I also, as you see up here, a couple of these shirts, I own this podcast called The Underwater Fly Zone, UWFZ, established in 2021. That's our logo we've been rocking with. The Underwater Fly Zone, what that means, you know how you can look at a lake and you can see the surface, but you can't see everything that's underneath the surface of that water? Well, on the drive here, we drove over, Truman Lake? And I was looking out and I was like, if they drained this lake, I wonder how deep it would really be. Like, it's just crazy to think about, but you can't see all of the things, all the fish, all the life that's underneath the surface of the water. When you look at it, you can only see that surface, and that's how we are as people, right? You never know what somebody's going through. When you see the surface of them, you can see them smiling, you can see them having a great time, but you don't really know what they're going through. So with the podcast, our goal has been to bring people on and, have some deep talks, have some conversations that really have made an impact. And we actually have an Instagram reel about to hit 2 mil right now. And I'm very blessed to say that we are actually reaching people with this podcast. We even did a merch drop and kind of turned the podcast into a clothing brand. So we've been all over the place. That top left pic is from Indianapolis. We were selling merch at NBA All-Star Weekend. We've been all over Kansas City doing pop-up events. We've been in Lawrence. We've been in Maryville. That top right picture, so this past Christmas, we hosted a little event. You can see me speaking at it. It was on December 9th, and we had those crew necks. That crew neck I was wearing, We ordered 50 of them. And my goal was if we could sell all 50 of these, we're taking the profit money and we're buying Christmas presents for kids that might not have gotten Christmas presents without us. And the goal was if we sell them all, we'll make $800. But thankfully, our family, the Underwater Fly Zone family, threw in some dollar bills, and we ended up providing for about 20 families. You can see up, or 20 kids. You can see up in that picture, we got a bunch of presents. Still got those same shoes on. My shoe game ain't it, but oh yeah. So that pop-up over there was at the River Market. Great night. And then that's another picture from one of our events we did this past summer. Had a big turnout. And I'm really grateful to see the positive impact we've been able to make through this clothing brand and through this podcast, because it all stems from a story that I'm about to tell y'all. And that story is not one of happiness. It's not one of, this light that we're putting out. It was actually quite the opposite. And I'm excited to get into it, but I will say it's not something I love to do. I don't love to tell this story. I drove 2.5 hours here to tell it, though. I did that because I believe that my purpose in life is to come here and tell this story. We all have a story, and our stories are not fun to talk about, but when you talk about them, hopefully they could, impact somebody that hears. One more thing, introducing myself, I forgot to mention. I'm also an elementary PE teacher, and I said goodbye to my kids half day today. I don't like to do that, but I did for you guys. And I love you guys, and I'm excited to get into this. So like I said, I don't like to tell this story, but I'm about to tell it. Let's make sure. Let's see. Oh, I don't need to skip it. All right. I don't like to tell this story, but I'm about to tell it. And again, it's not a fun story, but hopefully me telling it can provide some healing or some tips or just something for you. Hopefully you can take something out of this story here today. So let's take it back to second grade, all right? I'm on the bus, first day of school. My little brother's in kindergarten, and there's this other kid. Me and my brother have the same red backpack. There's this other kid on our bus being a freak. Like, this dude's jumping over seats. Bus driver's pulled over yelling at him. He's that kid. But he has our same backpack, and he ended up getting yelled at and told, sit with them. And he pointed at me and my brother. So it was me, my brother, and this kid. That kid's name was Kyle. He's a crazy man. He was a crazy dude. And I didn't realize on that day in second grade that kid would turn into my third brother, all right? It's me, my brother Carson, and then this kid named Kyle, who I viewed as my third brother. And it stayed that way for years. I mean, this dude would be at my house all the time. He'd come over for family events. He'd go to my grandparents with us. He would go to, Christmas traditions. This dude was literally a third brother to me. And I was with this dude all the time. I was even with him on April 22nd, 2017. Remember that date because on April 22nd, 2017, we hung out, went fishing, did a rock skipping contest. He beat me. He never beat me, but he did beat me that day. Rock skipping contest. We played catch with a baseball in the front yard, just normal stuff. My mom made him dinner. I drove him home. He left his fishing stuff in my car, so when I got back to my house, I had to turn all the way back around, go back to his house, give him this fishing pole. And I remember when he came out to get his fishing pole, I said, bro, if you leave that fishing pole in my car again, we're going to have to box. And he was like, bro, you don't want to fight me? We were just playing around. And I left. And I didn't realize in that moment that would be the last conversation I would ever have with my third brother. Because the next day on Sunday, he made a permanent decision. It's a permanent decision to end his life. I didn't find out that day. I found out on the Monday. I'm sitting in fourth block English class. It was springtime, April 24th. It's kind of getting springtime right now. You guys know how it feels. We're just a little bit happier, I just got my first girlfriend. It was not her. Somebody else. Didn't work out, obviously. But this is my first girlfriend. It's springtime. I was feeling good. I had just finished a test, and I had my head down. And some people tell me, they're like, bro, are you just trying to add on to the story? I'm like, no, I'm so serious when I say I had my head down, and I was on top of the world. And then my aunt, who worked in the front office, came into my classroom and said, Foster, you're leaving. It's time to go. I was like, this day just got even better. See y'all later. Got my backpack, walking out, just kind of strutting my way. Peace out, y'all. I'll catch you later. But when we were in the hallway, I was talking with my aunt, and I noticed right away something happened. Something was off. So I asked her, I said, Aunt Chrissy, what's wrong? Is everything okay? And she said, Foster, it's not your family. I said, it's not my family? What do you mean it's not my family? And she said, It's not your family. She just kept saying that. It's not your family. It's not your family. It's going to be okay. It's not your family. I was freaking out. I was like, okay, what happened? Just tell me. Just tell me. She would not tell me. We got to the front of the school. She hugged me. She told me she loved me. And I walk out of the high school to see my mom, dad, and brother standing out front. And I was like, that boy Carson should be in school. My dad should definitely be at work. And why is my mom here? I was like, why is the whole family here on a Monday morning? And they told me, they said, Foster, last night, Kyle, my mom said this, she said, Kyle shot himself last night. And my first thought, I heard about suicide. I never thought I would lose someone to suicide. So in my head, I was like, is he good? Like I said, that dude's crazy. Maybe he was messing around with a gun and shot himself in the foot. I never thought it was intentional, so I was like, is he okay? My dad said, he's not okay. He actually passed away. And that version of myself, that was Foster 1.0, and he died right there. I died in that moment, and a new version of me was born. And the version of me that was born was a very depressed, very broken, very lost version of myself. The next week was it was a movie. I mean, I don't even remember that week, but I do remember the night of his visitation, just crying in front of 1,000 people showed up to this funeral. I was bawling in front of all of them. I had never cried in front of anybody before, and now I'm crying in front of all these people that I know. And then the next day, I was honored to be able to carry his casket. And as honored as I was, it was also very traumatic, because I was in this state of denial, this isn't real. This didn't actually happen. He's going to show up on Sunday, and we're going to be playing catch again in the front yard like we were less than a week ago. I was in this state of denial. But when I'm holding his casket, I realized, no, this is real. We're taking him to his gravesite. And I'd love to say that after the funeral, things got better, but they actually just got worse. I was still in that state of denial, that state of just absolute depression. It was the worst time of my life. There's a picture of us. I don't know what I was looking like there, but that was not good times in that picture. That was the first time we went and saw his grave. And then the first step I want to talk to you guys about today is what I was just talking about right there, is how I was in the state of denial. I was in the state of acting like what happened was a dream, or what happened was not real, and he was going to come back from his vacation in Jamaica, and I was going to see him again in 2 years. But unfortunately, on April 23rd of this year, that'll be 7 years since I've last seen him. I had to accept. First step was acceptance, and it was so hard to accept this to be reality, but I knew that I had to, because I knew that was step one. The longer I stayed in denial, the longer I was prolonging the healing process. So I know you girls just went through a similar situation, and this is a big thing I wanted to encourage y'all, is we have to accept the reality, and it's so hard. And I'm about to get emotional just thinking about how hard it truly was to accept that this was real. But it is the first step. The longer we push off acceptance, the longer we stay in the state of denial, and we prolong our healing. So acceptance is step one. I remember when I accepted that Kyle had passed away, and I thought that was the hardest part of the journey, but it doesn't get better just yet. You then have to allow yourself to feel. Growing up, what do they tell us? They tell us when we feel sad, they tell us, oh, put on a show. Put on a good show. Let's go get ice cream. You're not sad. Let's go get ice cream. Let's go on a walk. Let's distract ourselves from the emotions that we're feeling. Let's push them down. I'm here today to tell you, you got to allow yourself to experience these emotions. And that, to me, was the hardest part, because in my head, I had believed that bad things weren't supposed to happen. Up until Kyle passed away, I had never dealt with anything hard in my life. But when he passed away, I was like, bad things are not supposed to be happening to me. But the reality is that we live here on earth. And it's sad to say, but one day our time will come. Or if we live to be 90, we're going to experience losing a lot of people that we love in that 90 years. So unfortunately, a bad day will come. And I had to accept that this is just part of life. It's like whitewater rafting. Have you ever been whitewater rafting? I've actually never been, so I don't even know why I'm making this analogy. But I heard this from one of my little mentor people. They were telling me, they said, when you go whitewater rafting, do you expect not to get splashed? That's like life. It's like we're living here on this messy world. Do you expect bad things not to happen? Like bad things are unfortunately going to happen. And I had to accept that, and I had to allow myself to experience all the emotions that come with it. And I'm sure y'all know there's a lot of emotions that come with it. I was mad at myself. I remember being mad at myself because I would tell myself I wasn't good enough. I wasn't a good enough friend. I didn't do enough. I was beating myself up for not checking on him more. There were times where I was mad at him for making that decision. Like, how could you do that, bro? How could you make me go through all this? How could you pass your pain on to me? And then there was just the emptiness. It's like, how do you go from spending almost every day with somebody and then they end their life and now you are expected to deal with it? There's a lot of emotions that come with it, and you got to allow those emotions to be felt. I forgot one more thing I got to tell y'all. One more thing I got to tell y'all is what we don't express, we suppress. All right? These hard emotions that we feel, if you don't get it out, it's almost like a seed is being planted in you. You got to get that seed out of you, because if you leave that seed in you, it's going to grow. And the plant it's going to grow is a plant of depression. It's going to be a plant of heartbreak. It's going to be a plant of destructiveness. All right? You got to get these emotions out. Don't push these emotions down. You know that old, I don't know if anybody else has somebody in their life like this, but you know that grandpa that just, you don't like to be around him because he's always mad. He's always like mad at something, or you're driving down the highway and there's that person that's just road raging at you for no reason. It's like, I was chilling in my lane. What you so mad about? They're mad because they didn't get one of those seeds out of them when they had a trauma in their life. All these hard times you go through, they will get out of you one way or another. You're either going to express the emotions, allow yourself to feel, allow yourself to get it out, or unfortunately, you might leave it in you and you're going to be that grumpy grandpa, you know what I'm saying? It's hard to allow yourself to feel though, so oops, sorry for the giveaway. Ways to help, these are just some things I've thought of, and these are some things I did. I feel like talking to people is so uncomfortable because I did not ever want anybody to know that I was going through any sort of pain, but I'm here to tell y'all that talking to people is the number one way that helped me actually express these emotions. I know that some of you might feel like there's no one I can talk to, and if you genuinely are going through something right now, I want you to know, if you go to, this is not a promo, sorry, it's going to sound like a promo. It's not a promo. If you go to uwfz.podcast on Instagram, I have people DMing our Instagram page consistently, daily. I'm on a phone call with at least 2 or 3 people a week. Random people throughout the country. I've talked to a dude from Canada, like random people just on the phone just because they feel comfortable talking to me because I'm just some random guy, That's what I would have done back in the day because I didn't want my close friends knowing that I was struggling. So any of y'all, I don't know any of y'all, but if you want to talk to me, it's there, all right? Also, you gotta feel and release this emotion, and the way I was able to release was by going to the gym or doing stuff like that. Maybe going on a walk. Is that up there? Yeah, walks are up there. Different ways to physically get that emotion out. I remember going to the gym and I would tell myself, these emotions are going to die in here today. I'm going to work so hard. I'm going to let it out through, bench press or whatever it is. For ladies, there's different ways that you can do that as well. Maybe you could talk to her about that. But I think the walks are big. I have a friend that goes on a walk. He will never go a day without going on a walk. It's his mental health walk. He's got to do it every day. That's very important. And then I'm kind of stubborn, all right? I never went to therapy. Through all the stuff I've been through, I never went. But I highly encourage it. Don't be like me. Go to therapy. It took me 4 or 5 years to get through what I went through because I was fighting the battle myself. Therapy is good. I know a lot of people that have went and have benefited from it. And then last thing right here. This is the fun part, all right? So once you accept your situation and allow yourself to feel through it, it's the fun part now. It's the rebuild. I remember there was a time in my life, all right? So here's, take this in with me. April 23rd, 2017, my friend passed away from suicide. I didn't heal for a year, at least. Actually, it was almost a year. 2 days before the 1-year anniversary of my best friend passing away to suicide, I'm sitting there eating breakfast, and my mom walks in, and she tells me, she says, and my brother was there. She said, guys, she was crying. A guy named Lance, another kid that lived locally, he committed suicide 2 days before the 1-year anniversary. I didn't know Lance. My brother knew him really well. I didn't know Lance, though. But I knew his cousins. And I made the decision in that moment. I said I could sit back and, watch as they go through this, or I can realize that I actually know what they're going through. I actually can help these people in this situation. And I reached out to his cousin. And as depressed and as broken as I was, I reached out to her. And she told me, she said, Foster, thousands of people have reached out to me today. But your text saved my life. And I don't claim, I'm no savior, so I'm not taking that title. But she did tell me that the message I sent her saved her life. So that's the day I realized this pain that I'm going through, there's purpose in the pain. And there's power in the pain that I've been through and a chance to make an impact through the story that I've lived through. And the rebuild, that's when I realized I can really start getting out of this funk that I've been in for the last year. And there was a day that I was on the bus on the way to school. And in my head, I was like, bro, anything could happen to me right now. And my life cannot get worse. I cannot be in a worse mental state at all than I am right now. It doesn't matter what happens. I'm at the rock bottom. And in that moment, I realized, you know what? If I'm at the rock bottom, if it can't get any worse, it can only get better. I feel like a lot of times when people hit rock bottom, that's when they make the decision to leave. That's when they make the decision to end their life. Or maybe not end their life, but maybe give their life over to alcohol, drugs, or some other unhealthy habit. You're not ending your life, but you're kind of you could be throwing away your potential because of your pain. But I realized in that moment, I'm at rock bottom. Things can't get worse. They're only going to get better. And that's the day I realized I'm going to give it my all to rebuild, do those things I was talking about, exercise, go on walks, talk to people, get these emotions out. And I'm going to be able to rebuild myself. And the big thing I want y'all to know is that the pain we feel in life, that is progress. When you're in the gym and you're, let's say you're hitting them squats. I did leg day today. I can barely walk. Let's say you're hitting the squats and your muscles, like I said, I can barely walk right now. It's like your muscles are tearing. Your muscles are hurting. They're breaking. You're feeling pain, but that pain is growing them into stronger muscles. That's exactly how our mental health is. All right, the hard times we face in life, the pain we face in life, that is growing you into a stronger person. So I hope that gives y'all some hope in the fact that, I know there's people in this room that have really been going through it. But I promise you, that pain you're facing, stick around because it will cause a rebuild. When a storm comes through and let's say a tornado blows up the city's destroyed. Well, guess what? They're going to rebuild that city. It's going to be stronger houses, new buildings. It's a rebuild. That's exactly how that situation was for me. It was literally death. It was the worst I've ever felt. And now I'm out here doing a podcast, doing a clothing brand, making an impact because of the things I had been through. There's so much good that comes in the rebuild. And this is the last thing I want to say right here. I don't want to keep you all night. I know this yap sesh might not be your thing, but your life is worth living. That's the quote we live by. Your life is worth living. I got it on my hoodie right now. We got some shirts up here. I also do not want y'all to think I'm here to sell y'all something. I just brought these because if you want, we got our merch here. It's your life is worth living is the quote, is the message we live by, because no matter what happens in your life, no matter how bad things get, that statement will always remain true. Your life is worth living. No matter how bad it is, that statement always stays true. And we put that message on the back of our hoodies, on the back of our shirts, because we know that if we put that message out here in the world, if people are wearing this shirt around, wearing this hoodie around, you're going to impact people that you had no clue you were even going to impact. I've had so many messages from people being like, bro, I was wearing your shirt, and then somebody stopped me and said I made their whole day. And I'm like, bro, that sounds great to hear, We're literally just trying to make an impact out here in the world. This is my attempt at pushing positivity into this world that can sometimes be so negative. And I just hope you all know that I know you're struggling. I know that maybe people are in here and they're dealing with something I didn't even bring up today, but no matter how bad it gets, your life will always remain worth living. And you know how I told you that Instagram reel is blowing up? It's almost at 2 mil. The reason it blew up is because I said 3 words in that reel. 3 words in that reel that a lot of comments said they haven't heard in a long time. And I'm going to say it to y'all right now. I love you. I don't know y'all. You're my brother, so I already loved you. But all y'all ladies, everybody in here, I love you. I know I don't know you, but I promise you I very much care about each and every single one of you. If anybody needs anything, reach out. Reach out. I got time. I took tomorrow off work to be here late for you. So if anybody needs to reach out, anybody wants to talk or anything like that, I'm here. My fiance's here. And we're here for a minute too. So I think I had one more thing on here. Oh shoot, we do have one. Okay, so last thing I want to say is you see these little blank yard signs? So here's the deal. Kind of like the shirts, our goal is really just throw positivity into the world, not in a toxic way. This is one thing I forgot to say. You know how the narrative of good vibes only, like people are pushing this good vibes only narrative. If you don't relate to that, that is okay. And it's important to be not okay when you're not okay. You know the saying, it's okay to not be okay? Well, it's actually essential to not be okay when you're not okay, because if you fake like you're okay, if you fake like you're good vibes only, when you're actually going through it, that's going to prolong your healing. All right, so I promise y'all, feel the emotions. I know it's uncomfortable, but it's so important, and I love you guys. What we be doing at our events is we write a little positive message on these blank yard signs, and we just kind of set them throughout the city. So I thought maybe today, I'd drop the bag on these blank yard signs, and shout out to 80 Pie though. They're refunding me. Love you girls. So I didn't drop any bag. But anyways, these are more expensive than you would think though, by the way. Like, I don't know, they're ridiculous. Anyways, we got these blank yard signs. I'm gonna pass them out. Maybe my boy Brady that's been spamming the camera. Good job, bro. We're gonna pass these yard signs out. What I want you to do is just like these people did, just write a nice little positive message on it, make it look real fancy. I also bought some Sharpies, and then put them throughout the campus, Oh my goodness. Just put them throughout the campus, put them throughout Springfield. You don't know who you're gonna impact just by putting out one of these little yard signs, all right? But hey, like I said, I love you guys. Thank you so much for having me. This is my first time ever talking at somewhere like this, so I hope it wasn't too all over the place, but hey, thank you so much. Let's go. Oh shoot, I got one more thing. When you put the little spiky thing in here, be careful because this one ripped a little bit, so be careful. Right.
Okay, thank you.
One per There you go.
Special team, special players,
You ain't listening to the Underwater Fly Zone podcast, bro. What you doing?
Missouri State, thank you so much for showing up. That was probably my favorite event we've ever done. If you want to book me, like I said, uwfz.podcast. We are doing more events just like this for free. We're coming to your school, spreading the message. Your life is worth living. I won't say this was my best work, but I had a great time. Thank you so much to everyone who showed up. And yeah, we'll catch you next time. Peace.